Sidney Powell pays fine after Fulton County guilty plea. A 2020 election lawyer paid a fine to a Georgia agency, according to a spokesman. Sidney Powell, who filed multiple 2020 election-related lawsuits, paid $2,700 in restitution to the Georgia Secretary of State's office as part of her plea deal with prosecutors in Fulton County, Georgia. Ms. Powell has not publicly commented on the payment as of Thursday. The plea was issued as she was slated to go to trial on October 23 alongside attorney Kenneth Chesebro, who similarly pleaded guilty to related crimes last week. And like Ms. Powell, Mr. Chesebro agreed to testify against other defendants in the case. As for the other more than dozen defendants in the case, including President Trump and Mr. Giuliani, trial dates have not been set. Both the former president and former New York City mayor have pleaded not guilty. Sidney Powell was one of millions and millions of people who thought, and in ever-increasing numbers still think, correctly, that the 2020 presidential election was rigged and stolen, the former president wrote on Truth Social. President Trump added that Ms. Powell was not my attorney. And never was. If she was his lawyer, she would have been conflicted, the former president added. Ms. Powell did a valiant job of representing a very unfairly treated and governmentally abused General Mike Flynn, but to no avail. His prosecution, despite the facts, was ruthless. He was an innocent man, much like many other innocent people who are being persecuted by this now fascist government of ours, and I was honored to give him a full pardon, President Trump also wrote on Truth Social. However, there was confusion about that comment as some mainstream media outlets alleged that Ms. Powell was actually his lawyer because she partook in a news conference in late 2020, alongside former Trump attorneys Rudy Giuliani and Jenna Ellis. Ms. Ellis, who was also charged in the Georgia case, recently pleaded guilty in exchange for a plea deal with prosecutors in late October. But Ms. Powell, in court papers earlier this year, wrote that did not represent President Trump or the Trump campaign, because she never signed an engagement agreement with the campaign in any official capacity. What's more, Ms. Powell's name was never on any Trump campaign court filings related to the 2020 election. This is how prosecutors operate. They charge, they overcharge, including charging innocent people, Mr. Silverglate told the Epoch Times last week after her guilty plea. It's much more difficult to beat conspiracy cases than substantive criminal cases. And the reason is that if the government can convince a jury that you were involved with these people in a conspiracy, rather than in a lawful undertaking, anything any member of that conspiracy did, you are responsible for, he added. Time equals 400 Ms. greater than if or when she is called to testify. The lawyer had questions about her intentions. Is she going to tell the truth, or is she going to say something to satisfy Fani Willis? Mr. Silverglate acts. She can say that she was lying previously, and now she's telling the truth, which, of course, would not be the truth, he said. Time equals 400 Ms. greater than after the election. Ms. Powell produced a significant number of media headlines for her predictions regarding the 2020 election as she claimed she would release the Kraken regarding voter fraud. Multiple lawsuits that she brought were thrown out by judges at various levels.